Yate and Camus, which means hello in the Navajo and Hualapai language. I am Francis E. Bradley Sr., Chief of Police of the Hualapai Nation Police Department, located in Peach Springs, Arizona. I am Bitterwater Clan, born for the Towering House Clan, which makes me Dene, or Navajo. So greetings to all of you and my clan relatives out there in the audience. Today, we're talking about the connection between community policing and the Indian country warrior way. That of being protectors, providers, and peacekeepers of Indian country. Let me begin with how we came to be, how we come to be. Navajos recognize human beings as five-fingered people. Look at your hand. This is an example of Navajo teaching. The thumb, that's me. Next is your mom, then my dad, and then my father's mother, and then my mom's father. In fact, our fingerprints come to us as we are created and are given to us by our ancestors. Our fingerprints are created by the swirling of the wind, which is our ancestors giving us self-identity. My identity is given to me by my clans. When we are born, we get our clan from our mother. This is our maternal clan, he or she is born into, followed by the paternal clan, he or she is born for. The baby is given the maternal and paternal grandfather's clans, completing that process. The declaring of clans puts responsibility of the child on those who are recognized in the child's clans. Ke promotes peace throughout the family and community, and after the child's clans are declared, he or she is responsible for respecting and aiding those surrounding him or her, especially representing the Ke concept. Ke refers to the establishment of family and clan relationships and enables the individual to balance their own morality, achieving kindness while following Navajo tradition. This gives me my identity as a human being and is the very pillar of how we are recognized as those who police in Indian country. When I first started my career as a Navajo police officer, the academy training was only part of that training. My learning began when I met those who came before me, the old guard, as we call them, and how we were identified by them. It was those of us who came together, my academy class, that I'll call the ones who came with me, who learned our philosophy to police our people and communities, and why who you are makes the difference in how you are recognized by the people. To today, where we are teaching all of those who come after how to police in Indian country through these traditional concepts. This way of thought, as I was told in the beginning of my career, is what will follow me to the day I leave the law enforcement service and the way of life I live as a protector, provider, and peacekeeper. Policing in Indian country falls naturally into the fabric of community policing. Navajo warriors are referred to as Nabahatene, which means we are protectors, providers, and peacekeepers. Having worked in Indian country all my career, I was taught by those who came before me that the ways of the warrior was not just legend, but a way of life we live as we're serving and protecting our people, our lands, and our way of life, no matter where we are. As we move through life with those around us, we share and teach the philosophy of the protectors, providers, and peacekeepers with those who work alongside us in the service we know as law enforcement. These basic concepts are practiced in the daily operations and delivery of policing in Indian country. With this philosophy of the warrior, the practices are shared and taught to all those who come after us to carry on the ways of protecting, providing, and peacekeeping for the people. Most tribal law enforcement agencies are multi-jurisdictional. We work across tribal, county, state, and federal jurisdictions. Of all the challenges faced by tribal law enforcement agencies, jurisdiction and the understanding of sovereignty are two of the most common questions raised concerning law enforcement and public safety in Indian country. Grasping the concepts, even in today's environment we police in, takes more than a casual understanding of law enforcement in Indian country. Throughout the United States, policing is very similar and based upon the foundations that we all practice. The only real difference is charging whom, in what court, for committing what crime, against whom, on what land. These are the technical details of policing. However, Native American culture and tradition still plays a major role in the serving of justice on tribal lands and how policing is done. This relational policing approach makes up the fabric of our policing today, dating back over 200 years. Community policing in Indian country is based upon the traditional teachings of the blessing way, the protection way, and defines self-identity, relationships, working with what surrounds you, people, the earth, the elements, the seasons, those kind of things, and how to solve challenges faced in living life. Here are some examples of the blessing way teachings. Being generous and kind, respecting values, being a careful listener, being appreciative and thankful, showing positive feelings towards others, showing reverence for yourself. When we talk about examples of the protection way teachings, they are like, never be lazy, don't be impatient, don't be overly argumentative, don't be overly reluctant, respect the sacred, have self-discipline and be prepared for challenges, and don't get mad. Relational policing is community policing in Indian country. In the modern way of community policing, one is assigned to a beat, an area, a community where the people get to know you and recognize you as their officer. You work in that area where you help better the quality of life. In Indian country, where we see relational policing as the fabric of community policing, it is how you are related by blood or clan, or identity, to the people of the community. You were more than likely born and raised in the area you're working in and still live in. I am an officer, but also a relative, maybe an uncle called on to help my nephew stay in school or out of whatever trouble he is having. Or I may be giving a community presentation and I introduce myself traditionally so that all in the audience recognize me as a clan relative. The traditional practices of the Navajo are like the following examples. The example of protecting, think about addressing life safety issues as we do every day, answering those emergency calls for service, car crashes, crimes in progress, fires, medical calls. Think about the example of providing. If an elder needed water or wood chopped or a ride to the store, you would provide that as an officer. The example of peacekeeping. It is a part of what we do every day in our communities. Problem solving is done through communication, respect, tradition, culture, consulting elders, through restorative justice approaches using the peacekeeper courts or ways. The fabric of community policing in Indian country is based upon the Navajo principles and how we are related to those we serve. As an Indian country warrior, we protect, provide, and keep the peace for our people, our communities, our visitors, and this country we all live in. Each of us who serve the people today do so in ways that mirror these very teachings and reflect the core values of protecting, providing, and peacekeeping in our communities. We identify ourselves as Navajo, the human beings who are there daily to serve and protect the people. We are guided by principles that are based upon tradition that provides the way for us to better the quality of life for all we serve. Let me close with the Navajo and Hualapai way of saying, see you later. In Navajo, it's Hagona. In Hualapai, it is Met You Iwa. Asha. which simply means thank you in Navajo.